Yeah.
So the next game, actually, I hope you played some. I didn't
I did.
play it a minute. It's PUBG.
I did. And I have to compare it to other battle royales, to Fortnite, to Call of Duty Warzone, to Apex.
Yeah.
And I think PUBG stinks.
Yeah, it does.
I don't like it.
I
It's
didn't play it, but
so
I watched
slow.
some, and
It's
it's
the
bad.
slowest game I've ever played.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the movement feels clunky.
Yeah. Controls everything, right? It's
You don't get, like hit feedback.
Yep.
If you hit someone,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have that. I don't know if I shot
Perfect for
someone or not. I
esports.
don't know if I hit.
Yeah, perfect for esports, right?
Yeah. The graphics I mean, low graphics are not like so important, but I just think the game looks bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add to that. I cannot talk
I
about it
didn't
a
play
lot,
it
but
as much.
it's bad. It's bad
Yeah.
for me. I watched a tournament. I watched some streamers playing it when it came out, especially fun streamers. But after all, none stick with it. I mean, why should they?
Yeah.
It got like it was unfinished at the time. It still is. I think it has. Yeah,
all the time.
It's very.
It feels like a beta game.
Yeah, right, with a lot of bugs and stuff like that. So yeah, no deny it's C, right? Or is it? Should we do?
It's C, but I think it's in front of Overwatch. Even though the game is not that good,
Bold
I think
state.
Overwatch has so many negative aspects that has nothing to do with the game. They just made bad decisions.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like
All right.
it like this.
All right. Yep. Next one is
Rainbow Six Siege. Did you play?
Nope. But I watched the tournaments. Funny enough, because the problem with this game, for me, no one wants to play with me. And I like to play with friends, right?
Yeah.
But I like the design of the game.
I
think it's really, it's looking really cool. With the, it's like a mature, good Overwatch for me, right? It's like heroes, like they should be. It's for adults, right? And it's very cool. I would love to play this game. Really, really love to play this game. And tournaments I watch here and there. If there are bigger tournaments, then I really like it. They have a lot of esports organizations actually.
Yeah.
By now, I saw that last
week. And the tournaments are big.
Yeah, they are big.
I think like a few days ago.
Yeah, right. That was when I was watching some.
Yeah.
And that was when I was also seeing that there are really, really big organizations already participating and acknowledging that this game is big and is cool and is getting the attention.
Yeah.
Only thing in our categories I don't know is player base wise. I can only say the numbers on Twitch and they're not high, right?
So I played it.
Yep.
I played it a few times. There was like 3 or 4 times in like a span of like 5 years where I started the game. I really like it, but same as you, I like to play with friends, and my friends don't really like the game.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned the viewers, especially on Twitch. I think the game has one big disadvantage, and this is like the different levels, like of buildings. I think it's really hard to follow where a player is on the map.
Okay.
I can see in tournaments that they try to fix it. They try to give you an overview on which floor we're on at the moment, which player you're watching.
Yeah.
But I still think it's very hard. There are buildings with 3 or 4 levels. If you don't know the map, you can't really tell where it is. Many rooms look the same. But at the same time, it has this intense feeling all the time. It's a game with guns, but you are close up the whole game.
Yeah, right.
I mean, the biggest distance you have to shoot are like 10 meters or something.
Yeah.
It feels like the gun is overkill, but you have to use a gun because the enemy is using a gun. So
it feels like do you know the map Office in
Yes.
It feels like you're always in Office. You're playing Office permanently, but with abilities and as you said, over too many weapons, too many guns to fight, too many spells to fight and use. It feels like you're destroying the place, right? It feels like war, 5 meter face-to-face war all the time.
And I think a cool feature is the leaning. You can lean
I like that a lot.
I like it.
And I think that should be actually in a lot more games. That's you barely see that.
I mean, it makes so much sense in this setting because the maps are so small.
Yeah.
There are so many corners.
Yeah.
And I think this feature is really, really good.
It's really, really cool. I like it a lot, and I like to play it someday maybe. But but for now, and esports wise, I like to watch it, and that's the main point. And for that, I would put in maybe A tier, good A.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. I wouldn't put it above Apex.
Yeah, but close to, right?
Definitely better than Hearthstone.
Right.
I think A tier is really good.
Yeah, yeah. Next up is Rocket League.
I like to start on Rocket League because Rocket League. I have a very strong opinion about Rocket League.
Mm-hmm.
I think Rocket League is the best esport to watch in the world. It's just 3 cars on a map, 1 ball. Everybody knows football. You can always follow what's happening. You understand the game instantly. It looks crazy because there are cars flying.
Actually,
but you know what's happening.
Yeah.
You don't need to know maps. You don't need to know abilities. You are not seeing abilities. You just see cars charging against the ball. And it's hype as hell. Like if
actually,
you score
it is
a goal,
right.
Everything explodes.
Yeah.
And I think there's no better game to follow than Rocket
I can
League.
see that. I can totally see that. Actually,
you can have never played a game in your life. You see a Rocket League tournament and you know what's happening instantly.
And the tournaments are quite big, right? I saw some.
Yes. There are huge organizations in the game, like Energy, like FaZe, all the names you know.
Yeah.
Also
the esports scene, right? Tournament and esports
it's
scene.
It's quite big. Yeah. The problem Rocket League has is there are bigger games out there.
Yeah.
The tournaments are always when a league tournament is or when a CS:GO tournament is, and of course everybody watches those. I think Rocket League is a great game. The skill ceiling is insane, but the accessibility is easy. You can just drive around. You don't have to press a lot of buttons. I mean, you can get.
I can
into
feel it. Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
Did you play Rocket
No,
League?
I didn't. I never played
it. It's just really.
But it looks fun.
Yeah,
the thing that the problem I have with the game, it's really only one problem. For me, it looks like a Friday night with the boys, hanging out, drinking some, and playing on a console.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. But
it looks to me exactly like that, and not like an esports title.
Yeah.
That's what's keeping me away from it.
I think if you get into the game a little bit more, you see the potential this game has. Like teams are developing tactics. They're following rotations. It's crazy how strategic this game is. Even though they're just 3 players, 1 ball, and just
it's after all a sports game. And sports is almost every time about strategy.
It's very strategic. It's very mechanical at the highest level. I think it's a great game. I really do. It's
Where do you
hard.
see it?
I'm not really good in Rocket League,
but whatever. Would you put it?
I would actually, as much as I love Apex, I would put it above Apex.
Mm-hmm.
I would put it above Dota.
Really, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if I would put it above Fortnite, to be honest.
I can see it in S tier, to be honest, even though I never played it. Because I know the esports
has so much potential.
Yeah, the esports scene is big. I know that for sure.
I think if we delete CS:GO or League, Rocket League would just skyrocket. I don't think the players would just shift to another similar game like Dota or another shooter. I just think Rocket League would just explode.
I can see that. let's do that. Let's do it like that. I like it. I actually like it. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Smite.
Never played it.
I did. Ha!
Yeah.
Let's go. Good. Finally a game I played. No, I played it. Not that much. I tried it. As always, you know how it works. Getting mad on League, trying out a new MOBA because you're annoyed of League. I tried out Smite for like a couple weeks. It's a very cool game. Very cool game. I like it a lot. I like that it's that it's 3D. Well, or it's first person, right?
Third person, meinst du?
Third person. Yeah.
You mean third person? Or is it first person? It's third person,
it's
right?
third person, but you're behind it. It's like it's of course it's third person, but it's
it's
like,
not the bird's eye view you have in League. It's like
right. Like you're behind. You're like
you
2 meters.
Apex in
yeah,
Fortnite.
Right. You're behind like 2 meters behind. So it feels like first person, but it is third person visually, right? I really liked the game, but I didn't like the design of the game again. Because it felt like it was made in 2003.
Okay.
And it plays out like that. For me, it's very slow. Everything feels slow. And everything feels very... nothing looks pretty. And it's like a game... If Smite would have came out like 20 years ago, it would be banger. It would be the best game ever, right?
That. Yeah.
But it slept on its high, on its peak. It was too late to the party.
Yeah.
Basically.
I can see that. Yeah, I never played it. I actually never saw a tournament.
Yeah.
I know there are some.
There are some, and a league, also an eSports league, but they are not really. I followed it a lot a few years ago, and this time at the moment like a little bit. It's not that much watched. It's really not that big. It's like 20, 30K, 20K, more like 20K on good days. And to watch it, outside of knowing how the game works, it looks very, very meh.
Yeah.
It already looks meh if you play it. So you can imagine getting into the bird perspective, it looks double the meh.
Yeah,
and it's more of the It looks like the gods. So it's not heroes, it's gods, right? Which I think personally I love gods, and the theme of the thing is insane, and you can do you could have done so many freaking cool things with it.
Yeah.
Because the basis of this game is so amazing, but the play, the gameplay, and how it looks is awful. And if you play,
where would you put it?
Last point, then I tell you where we should put it. If you watch it, the esports, like it's going on, 2 teams fighting against each other. It looks like, do you know on Counter-Strike, if you're behind a wall, if the camera is and you're moving behind a wall and you only see the silhouettes?
Yeah.
And it's basically all the time in this game. You're watching silhouettes of freaking gods. You almost never see the player play in their perspective. It's all of course you have to see everything, right? The bigger picture. It's a MOBA after all, but you see only silhouettes playing, and this is so lame. I don't want to watch silhouettes play. It's so frustrating.
It's crazy. So,
for me, it had so much potential, and it made almost nothing out of it. For me, it's definitely better than Hearthstone, but it's maybe it is better than Hearthstone.
Okay,
for sure, it is. It is because there's no RNG. You don't have to pay for it. The accessibility is more, or the start is more forgiving. For me, I would put it just above Hearthstone. Maybe we can discuss about here, but it's somewhere around here.
I mean, considering I never played it, I can't really say much. So I'm gonna trust you on this one.
All right.
Let's put it in front of Hearthstone. I'm fine with that.
Let's do it like that. Let's do it like that. Next up, StarCraft 2.
StarCraft, the classic.
It's the classic. It's a genre we don't see that often. Sadly, I like strategy RTS games. For me personally, and not only personally, I saw a lot of discussion about this topic. What takes the most skill in esports, and this was also the Super S Plus got super tier on every single tier list. So the skill you need for that game, the attention and stuff like that, and reaction is insane. Yeah. So from esports perspective and a gameplay perspective, it's crazy, and that makes it bad for new players.
Yes,
insanely bad for new players.
I got into StarCraft a few years ago.
Same.
I started playing it. It's so hard.
It's insane. Crazy hard. It's crazy hard. It's hard.
Like none other game.
Not a single game was this hard. I tried it out a few times, and I tried to really get good at the game.
Yeah.
You basic. It's
so you're managing like armies you don't even see.
Right.
You're building new workers or new armies while you fighting someone with a different army.
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming.
At three positions.
Yeah.
Simultaneously, so it's insane. It's really crazy.
I think it's really overwhelming if you so starting off.
Very much overwhelming.
I have to say, I think StarCraft is like the godfather of esports.
Yeah. Same.
It's like the first big game.
Big thing it has. Yeah.
It started everything off. It built the foundation for the esports.
Absolutely. In Korea, it's till this day the biggest esports game in the world, and in Korea, sorry, and that's for a fact. That's for a reason.
And there were quite a few years where it was on the same level as like CS:GO at the time.
Yeah. It's still to this day very big. So relevance-wise, insane. Development-wise is the only thing I accessibility. I don't think it's good at all.
Really good. No.
And development is also, it has no real new things coming over the last few years. So there's nothing going on. It's all basically the 50 best players in the world competing over the last 10
and
years.
That was what I wanted to say. Always the same names.
Yeah. Like you have like 2 or 3 newcomers, but it's always the same games. I follow this league, the scene like for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it has always been the same, and it's still to this day. So.
But I have to say, I don't know if you know Scarlet.
Yes.
Scarlet, I have so much respect for Scarlet.
Yeah.
Establishing her name in a scene that's dominated by male players.
Yeah.
And
also
really
she
nice
was in the GLS, right? In the Star League, in the Korean League, Pro League.
At the top a few years ago. She was one of the best. Yeah.
So really, that's also really cool to see. But I like the pros. That's it's out of question. I like the pros and the names and the characters, but there's not new ones coming, and that has a big reason why there is no one coming. So for me, since it's one of the, if not the godfather, it's very high still. Yeah. It is. Even though it is hard to learn and even harder to master, but I think it has to be S tier.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I'm honest.
And I was just thinking like putting it between Fortnite and Rocket League, maybe.
Yeah. I would have put it actually behind Rocket League because the player base it's not that big anymore. Sadly.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah.
But it's definitely S tier. Super Smash.
Right. Smash Bros. Did you play Smash at all?
Yeah, as a kid, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot with my boys after school always. And I actually played it on and off on my Nintendo Switch. I have it.
Yeah.
I love the game to death. It's one of my favorites,
really
fun-wise.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting to see this game because mechanically it's very, very hard to play at the highest level.
Yeah. But
at the same time, accessibility for new players pretty easy. I mean,
it's so easy. Just smash some buttons, right? It's
still
just
a
smashing
Mario game.
buttons.
It's appealing to a lot of people, to
Yep.
a lot of different
Yep.
like ages.
Yeah, also
I think
also
you have
children or
children
younger.
at the age of 6 playing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the 30-year-old pro who is playing it for 20 years basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think there is a very established scene, esports scene of this game. Like a little bubble. They're not really big, but it's very stable.
True.
There are very frequent tournaments. There are big names, big companies, big organizations who contract Smash players.
Yeah.
All I can remember is like Leffen from TSM.
Yeah. I know that.
He was really good. But I actually, what's funny about Smash, I think it made a name for itself, like for tournaments where like deodorant was given out to the crowd, because the smell was so bad.
What was that about?
I don't know if I remember correctly, but I think there were some tournaments where the smell was was insane. And it's always like the same. There's a little TV with 2 chairs in front of it.
Yeah, it's
just 2 players.
Yeah, it's so fun
in this TV playing on this controller.
Yeah.
Holding it like sideways because that's the optimal way to play.
Yeah.
And there are like
so
50
fun,
people around it, all watching this little.
Hundreds of people in the background, right? And it feels like they're in the living room chilling out and playing some fun games, and it's so cool to see it.
And I think 1v1 esport is very interesting because you don't have a team to rely on. It's just you and your skill.
That's what I actually like about fighting games.
Yeah. And the respect for pros in these type of games is really high because they acknowledge the
you have a name to defend, right? After all, it's your name. You're not like in a team or stuff like that. It's you.
Yeah.
Hello, our boss. Hi. What's
Heyo.
up? What's up? So Smash Bros for me is definitely not low tier, but definitely not high tier as well. I would put it in A, I think.
Yeah, A. I like A.
Because it's very accessible, it's relevant for a lot of long
for
time
some
now.
people. I think actually the player base and the visibility on like Twitch or so is not as big as Apex and Rainbow. So I think this is the perfect place for Smash.
Right. Tekken also fighting game, also 1v1, also big name, also one of the first fighting games ever out there. With Streetfighter, we have it later. So for me personally, it was always, I don't know if it's till this days like that, but it's always have been Tekken or Streetfighter. I don't know if that's a thing.
I'm not into fighting games, so I never played it. I never played Streetfighter as well.
All right.
But I always heard about it. No?
And it's both
back in the days,
cool.
Back in the days, my parents were like concerned to get me into fighting games.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I know what.
They didn't want like their child to play.
Glad you didn't play Mortal Kombat as I did as a kid, because then you're basically after playing one game of Mortal Kombat, you're not 8, you're 18. Because you've seen things.
So I actually don't know if Tekken is bigger than Smash, to be honest.
It's not.
It's not?
It's not. Both are not. Smash is the biggest. So if you're comparing fighting games, Super Smash is because of the broader audience, of course, because it's, Kirby, Mario, Yoshi, you know the drill.
But accessibility-wise, I would assume it's pretty easy to.
Yeah, of course, right? It's button mashing as always. Yeah. Fighting games are, that's the big point. Every fighting game actually has going for it. Yeah. They're all very accessible. They're all very easy to learn. Easy to learn. Well, not learning. Maybe you're just smashing buttons, right? But you can play it easily with your friends and stuff. Other than that, relevant. Both names are very much relevant. But I think they're actually pretty much the same. I've watched some here and there.
You mean Streetfighter and
Streetfighter? That's what I put it beside, because it's always these fighting events are always held in one place where you play every fighting game, right? It's not like you're going there to watch League. It's going there and you have a timetable. First 2 hours Super Smash, then next 2 hours Tekken, then next 2 hours Streetfighter.
It's the Evo you're talking about?
For example, yeah, right.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I heard about the Evo. That's like big eSports tournament where just fighting games.
That's the biggest fighting game event, right?
I actually couldn't tell Tekken and Street Fighter apart, to be honest.
That's why we do it like that.
If you would show me a video, I couldn't say which
one I'm not. I've not. It's like a Street Fighter for me. Watching it because I played it the last time I played both was like 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But I'm watching it. If you watch it, for me personally, that's why I would rate it higher is Street Fighter, because you have Street Fighter is more about abilities, and Tekken is more about the raw fighting thing and strategic fighting and stuff like that, right? Like fist to fist, bare knuckle fight. And I wouldn't tear those two apart. I actually
you think they're actually basically the same?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would maybe do it like that. Okay. We can maybe argue about doing it that way, but
you would put them in different tiers, even though you think they're similar.
Yeah. But for me, it's personally for me from a watcher perspective. If I think about what I like watching more, what is more fun this time to watch, because they're both easy to watch.
What I assume to be right is they're like pretty stable player base, right?
Yes.
Stable player base.
You know the name. It's like
viewership.
You know the name. You know the name of the players. You know actually most of the time the name of the viewers, except for at Evo. At Evo there's like a big peak, so once a year. But after that,
like this scene in esports. They're just fighting game guys, right?
Yeah, it's like this fighting games. Yeah. Fighting game guys are like going hand in hand. They're all playing this. It's after all one genre, which I like about fighting games also. Because you have 4 or 5 also Mortal Kombat. It's not on the list, but two more fighting games.
Yeah,
and they're all playing to fight, and it's not. Really not rare to see a pro playing every good or is a pro at every game of these.
I can see that.
That's really Sonic Fox, the legend himself, is playing every single game at the highest level, for example, and there are a few more guys out there. So I would really maybe do it like a cluster, like a package.
I like it. I would, but still put Smash Bros ahead just because it's Mario.
Yeah, it's ahead because it's left more to the left, right?
Yeah. I like it.
So that's going on. Then Tetris, it's not like about fighting; it's mentally fighting.
Tetris is like a unicorn in those games.
It is.
But Tetris actually is like the second or third highest sold game in the world.
Yeah, it is.
That's really crazy. I think it's more crazy than Minecraft beat it a few years ago, but you cannot ignore Tetris.
It's actually, by the way, the third. Second.
It's the third GTA, at the moment? Okay. Yeah, GTA overtook it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Tetris, even though I think it's the oldest game of these.
Yep.
There is an esports scene, actually.
Really?
I think a lot of people don't know this, but there are Tetris tournaments.
Okay. I know it from YouTube, not from Twitch. I know it on YouTube, some fun events.
I saw videos as well. One of the best players is actually called Jonas, so that's pretty fun. But there are tournaments, and it's the way to win the tournament is you collect points while playing Tetris. Every time you break a row, you get points.
Mm-hmm.
So they always try to maximize the rows destroyed at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So they just build, and then they wait for the long straight one that's like five blocks wide, and they just put it on the side and they destroy 5 rows at the same time. And the game goes quicker every time. It's actually pretty intense.
I know. I watched some.
production-wise, the casters are crazy.
Yeah.
They are freaking out. It's
Yeah,
just Tetris,
yeah,
but
yeah,
they make it actually interesting, I think.
yeah,
But at the same time, it's still Tetris.
yeah,
It's just Tetris.
yeah.
I think it's pretty boring.
Pretty boring,
Uh,
right?
you have to put time in it to get good at it.
It's very accessible, but it's very
Yeah,
time
it is.
consuming if you want to be somewhat good.
Yeah. I think player base wise, I mean, I think every gamer has played Tetris
Yeah,
once
that's cool.
in
That's cool.
in their
But
lifetime.
yeah,
But I think the player base who's playing regularly is very small.
yeah, true.
Very small.
What I like
And
about the game,
yeah,
I just want to add one thing. What I like about the game is that there are almost, yeah, not every year, but there are always records that get broken still to this
yeah,
day. This is very
yeah.
'cool to see. So it's getting
Even
faster.
though it's so old and it never
Yeah,
changed, or it
yeah,
basically never changed.
basically never changed. But there are
Yeah,
still almost every year a record that gets broken. That is
yeah,
cool to see for a game that is that old, but esports wise, it's so lame to watch.
it's just too small.
Cannot
Yeah,
watch it, and it's too small, and
yeah.
it's
I mean,
more
I
of
think
a
it's funny to watch the video. Like,
yeah.
wow,
That's exactly
how
exactly.
crazy
I
it is
wouldn't
that there's a Tetris tournament. No one can
exactly
imagine
exactly.
there's a
It's
Tetris
more
tournament
like
in the world.
you watch it on YouTube and click through it and think, oh, wow, that's cool and fun to see, but you would
Yeah.
never watch 3 hours or 4 hours of Tetris.
No.
No way in hell. So for me, it's what would you say? B?
I think it's low.
Low, yeah.
I think relevance. I mean, relevance of the game is actually high, considering the fact that this was one of the first games you can play on PC like 50 years
Yeah.
ago or something.
But the nostalgia, the nostalgia glasses, we
Yeah.
should put that aside. I think, for me at
But
least.
yeah, I think esports wise, it has to be low. I
Yeah.
think it has to be. I think it has to be the last, maybe.
C even.
Yeah,
I can
think
see it
so.
here, like here maybe. If I say B, low B, I would put it here. You'd here, like
Yeah,
let's do it here.
I think Tetris has nothing wrong with it.
No, it hasn't. It hasn't.
It has almost no bad sides as PUBG, Overwatch, and Clash Royale has.
You just don't want to
no
watch
money
it, right?
involved. There's no RNG involved. It's just a boring game.
Yeah,
it's just a boring game.
boring.
And no
You
one
just
plays
don't
it,
want to
so
watch it, and it's for
yeah.
esports. You want to watch it, right?
Yeah, I think the first one in CTS is good.
All right.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. Next up, in the League of
Teamfight
Legends universe, Teamfight Tactics.
Yeah, auto chess game.
Mm,
Not really my type of game. I
Same.
played it.
same.
I think it's fun,
Yeah.
but I think it's hard.
Yeah.
Sets are always evolving. Sets are always changing.
Development is good. Yeah.
You have to put a lot of time into this game to be good, to
Yeah.
stay on it, so to
Mhm.
speak. There is an esports scene. There was a world
I know that.
championship,
Yeah.
I think a few years ago, not that long ago, which was viewership wise not too small. I
Mhm.
think
Mhm.
I think it was comparable with like early Hearthstone days, maybe like
Yeah.
I would
Yeah. I know what
compare
you
it with like Rainbow viewership, I think. I think it's a really good stream game as a streamer.
Yes.
You have a lot of time to interact
Absolutely.
with your stream.
Yeah.
It's pretty chill to play.
Absolutely.
You don't
Yeah.
have to be focused like all the time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, I really don't like the game. I just don't like auto
And
chess
I
games,
don't like to
as you
watch
see.
it. And as
Yeah.
we duo two obviously, and we both watch esports tournaments, even though we don't play the game.
Yeah.
But it's not like that with Teamfight Tactics, and I think TFT is just like boring. It's already
Yeah.
it's super
I
boring.
can see that, yeah.
There is no real player base for me. there is no real names I can get behind, no characters, no nothing. It's also fishy.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I think the tournament I watched was full of influencers as well.
Oh yeah.
I think it was an invitational.
Yeah,
but like I don't know.
that.
You know Trump from Hearthstone?
Yes.
I think he was one of the players.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
People like Toast, people like Haru, and some.
Yeah, they tried to generate hype with good
yeah.
Hearthstone or good card players, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, but
I mean,
for me,
I acknowledge the fact that this game is.
Yeah.
It is a good game.
It is a good game.
I think there are a lot of players playing it at the moment.
Yeah.
Riot is putting a lot of effort into this game.
It's an innovative mode, especially or type of game also. Yeah.
And I can see why people like it. Actually, it's just not my personal favorite.
Definitely. But I think it's very boring to watch. Also, if you watch it, there's always one table you watch, and then there are these rounds in between where with the roulette stuff, and it's so not cool to watch. And there's no hype, not a single moment of hype.
From a viewer perspective, you get like two teams fighting each other.
Yeah.
But there's so much synergy involved.
Yeah.
You have to know the bonuses, like the different types give.
Yeah.
And it's from this point it's pretty hard to watch at a high level.
Yeah. It's also not really accessible. It's hard to understand, I think.
You have to just learn it before you can play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just put your champions on the table, but you just get destroyed by someone who just is interested and watches the guide like once a week.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, so you have to put time in it, and I don't like it.
As much as we speak on and on and on, I think it's C.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
You think it's
B at best.
Worse than Hearthstone?
B at best. It's worse than it's worse than. It's definitely worse than Smite, and I think it's even worse than Hearththone, right? Yeah.
Okay, but I personally would not put it in C.
Okay, yeah,
I actually was thinking about like A tier.
Really?
Between Rainbow and Smash.
Really?
Wow. Because I think the game is bigger than
you would expect.
Someone not playing it is expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Viewership on Twitch, I think, is pretty high.
Okay.
But I don't know. I mean, we're talking esports, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know about tournaments really. So I think I'm fine with B.
Okay.
I mean, I was thinking A, you was thinking C, so B is the fair middle ground, I think.
All right.
Your experience with Smite, you said it's worse than Smite. So
I think it would be here, but we can do it like here's to be.
Yeah.
If it's okay.
I mean, it's fine. So I think those three games are not really taken away from each other. I think.
True.
Okay. Next up, Valorant.
Next up is Valorant.
Very, very interesting.
And a very, very cool game.
Yeah.
First things first, it's a very cool game, and I play it a lot, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. I'm not a shooter guy, but I just said like 2 days ago to one of my best buddies, like, how about we just get into Valorant? Just take 5 guys. I know we have some friends who are very into shooter games. Take 5 guys and learn the game from the start. We're all not really good.
Yeah.
And Valorant is the only shooter game I would be excited to play regularly.
Yeah, same for me.
Because I like the setting.
Yeah.
I think it's very close to CS:GO play-wise, but with abilities, which I think is awesome.
I love abilities,
Yeah. I think it's the only game, the only shooter out there, the only first-person shooter out there competing with CS:GO.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, but at the same time, I would never put it above CS:GO.
Never.
I think it's just a great game. I mean,
it's a great game.
Riot again. Releasing a game which is like completely full of esport. Like CS:GO is just owning this scene of FPS games. And Riot comes along, releases like randomly an FPS game, and it's just great.
Yeah.
It's just a really good game. It has a huge player base.
Yep.
It's relevant in esport. It has huge tournaments, huge prize money. All the organizations are in it.
And I think personally, well, I do play shooters here and there, but personally, for me, I think it's very accessible. You can just hop in, even now with the Swift play mode. You can even do it
I can see that.
a lot better now, getting into the game. Of course, it's a shooter after all, and with abilities, I know that for WoW, okay, but the abilities are not that hard. There is no, or not with every hero, right? The initiators are a bit harder, but they are also a bit easier to understand agents. So for me, it's also.
I think we have to compare to CS:GO, right?
Yes.
And accessibility-wise, I think it's quite a lot harder than getting into CS:GO.
If you compare it to
not
CS:GO,
only because there are abilities, but think about like throwing a smoke in CS:GO. You just press the button, you have it in your hand, and you throw it the way you're looking.
Yeah.
And in Valorant, you press an ability, and all of a sudden you're just looking at the map from a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
And it's completely different.
True.
And I think this is a little bit harder.
True.
But there's, even though the accessibility is not as easy as CS:GO, I think it's close. But at the same time, I think we can't put CS:GO and Valorant both in God tier.
No, I would do it S plus.
Yes,
like
I think it's
S, right.
One of the best. Looking at the games that are coming, especially the game after, I think it's one of the best in S tier, and at the moment I think it's the best in S tier.
It is, It really is.
And I think it's quite a lot of difference between Valorant and the rest in S tier.
Yeah,
but we can't.
There's a gap, right? There's a good gap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, but we can't just put it in God tier. That wouldn't
cannot
be fair to CS:GO.
But Valorant is, I think Valorant, bold statement. I think I could imagine the CS:GO will not die, never, or Counter-Strike in general. But I think at some point in the next 2 or 3 years, Valorant will be bigger than CS:GO.
I actually think this could be true, especially when Valve does not decide to develop CS:GO at the rate that Valorant is developing their game. Yeah. If CS:GO stays the same game for the next 10 years, I think Valorant can overtake it. Yeah,
I think so. I think they will, and it's not even 10 years. It's closer than we think.
You're watching tournaments, right?
Yep, a lot.
I think the production is awesome.
Really cool.
Stages are awesome.
Yeah.
I like play. So I think it's Boaster from Fnatic.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is just hilarious. I like that players are bringing their personality into this game. I like the intensity.
Turbo cool.
I
also think they have one, if not the best casters actually in esports. I like the casters, and I like the variety of casters they have. Like I don't know their names, but they have so many different casters, and they're all actually doing a great job.
Yeah.
And they know how to hype up people.
Yeah.
And I really like it from the esports point of view. For me, personally, right now, at the moment, so to say, I mostly watch Valorant. eSports.
Okay,
This is my number one eSports title since a few weeks now.
Yeah. And I think it's for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Just Valorant is fun to watch.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that shooters in general are pretty easy to understand, just to get into. Yeah. I mean, 5 guys shooting each other. It's not really that hard to understand, but I mean, considering maps, you have to learn maps to really understand what's going on.
Right.
You have to know what abilities does. But that's just a shooter thing, right?
Yeah. The only thing for Valorant that I think, or I don't know if it's more of a meme, but people said, like on Twitter especially, like you don't see anything, right? Because there are 10 people doing their stuff, doing their walls and smokes, and you don't see anything and stuff like that. But I personally think it's not that hard to understand or to follow if you played like 5 games of the game. If you played never, then it's like,
I mean, there are some agents to this day. There are some abilities, or quite a lot of abilities, and there are moments, especially like when teams are like going for a tactic, going to like for a rush tactic.
pushing
there can
most
be moments,
of the time,
yeah, there can be moments where you don't see anything.
Yeah.
But the players playing the game in this moment don't see anything as well.
Yeah.
So that's just the reality, and it's not like you don't understand, because there is so much going on.
Yeah. And also, I think production-wise, they made it so good now that they're if that is the case, you have. I recognized this last weekend actually. When there's a scenario like this coming up, so they're rushing on some spots, right? And there is like smokes everywhere and stuff like everywhere. And you don't see anything, right?
Yeah.
Then they are instantly switching to first person view, right? And then exactly the effect that you just said happen.
Yeah.
So you see the player's perspective, and you know, okay, this guy really doesn't see a thing.
Yeah.
And now I am this guy, and I am walking with this guy through literally fire, water, smoke, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And this is what makes
production value is really high.
Yeah. And that is what's interesting me very much about this game in esports. So I think S tier, fine, very good.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
And next game is also really good. Why? Jonas, you can maybe tell us why.
Yeah, so for everyone watching who doesn't know, Flo and I are really big into World of Warcraft. I think, and bear with me on this, I think it's the best game in the world. That's, of course, very biased. I think it's just great. I love the game. There's one big thing that makes it like below other games, and that's the pay gap. So you have to pay monthly to play this game.
Of course,
I think this concept is outdated.
It is.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with putting money in games, like for cosmetic stuff or things like that, but just to play the game, spend money, I don't like it. But especially you have games like League of Legends, CSGO, who are just free, and you can play the whole game without paying a single dollar, and I think it's great. There's my girlfriend coming home.
Yeah.
You want to be on camera? No.
Hello. So let's hurry. Let's wrap it up. But the point with the pay gap, okay, I can see that. But since the 1st of February 2023, we have a battle pass included with the monthly pay. So you basically pay 13 euros in Germany, where we live, to play the game. Yes, but you have like a free monthly battle pass coming with it. So you have your
Did I miss something?
Yes, obviously you did, and you should now log on after this video and get your battle pass going, because on the 1st of March it's rotating. Just so you know. But
I'm playing World of Warcraft regularly, like almost every day, and I don't know about a battle pass. Like, what is going on?
There you go. But we have a battle
talking pass. Esports wise,
esports
scene is actually growing. I think
it's growing again. It's growing again because
there's Race to World First.
Because obviously just to Dragonflight is better. The obviously more players are coming to the game because Dragonflight, so the new expansion, is working out better, because they were like addressing more like the casual player, but also the pro players, and that makes the player base a whole lot bigger, which means a lot more people are watching, and also the pro players are more willing to get into playing the game on a pro level, so to say. Yeah. But sorry,
esports wise, we have the Race to World First,
yes,
which is for everyone not knowing World of Warcraft, there are regular raids released like every 6-7 months or maybe longer. Like every expansion is about 2 years long, and there are like 3 or 4 raids in each expansion. Then we have the best guilds in the world. Every time the raid is released, racing to get the last boss down on the hardest mode.
Yeah.
Then we have PvP.
Yeah.
Self-explanatory. We have 3v3 PvP.
Yeah.
And we have the MDI. That's the Mythic Dungeon International.
Right.
Mythic Dungeons are just a part of the game, and there's a team of 5 people going through a PvE dungeon and trying to clear it as fast as possible. They're on a timer, and there are different levels. And so we have 3 different kinds of esport in this game.
Yeah.
And I think they're growing.
Yeah. They definitely do.
Yeah.
I myself, you're the PvE player, so you know MDI and the world's first boss, raid boss is better. I myself, I'm a PvP player. I watch the AWC, so the PvP tournament regular, almost every time it is up. So it's growing again, thankfully, because it was like on a low like a few years ago, and now it's growing or getting back to where it should be, and thanks to the new expansion. And it's very fun to watch everything. Even though I'm not playing PvE, I like to watch the World First Race. I watch it here and there. Also MDI, I watch it here and there, and AWC, so the PvP tournament, I watch always. So well, I'm biased, of course. Fair enough, but relevance wise, it's own. I don't know if there are much RPGs, MMORPGs out there that have that esports density.
Yeah.
Actually, so I can't remember any. I know Final Fantasy 14 is bigger.
Final Fantasy has a bit.
Has a bigger.
The esports scene is very small.
Player base, right? The player base is insanely big, but the esports is small as hell. In comparison.
But player base I think is very interesting with World of Warcraft, because World of Warcraft was the biggest game for a long time.
Long time.
And I think for a lot of people, World of Warcraft seems dead.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are not interested in it anymore.
Yep.
A lot of people they always hear the story about players quitting after 10 years, quitting their lifelong favorite game. But if you play World of Warcraft yourself, there's always someone online.
Always.
There's not a single feature in this game you can't do because there are no players.
Yeah.
And especially in the last, let's say, 6 years, the player base is stable for World of Warcraft. I mean, it's shifting all the time, because when a new expansion comes out, it grows. Then in the middle, it dies down a bit. Yeah. At the end, the people come back because they're excited for the new expansion.
We're talking about 20 millions or 10 millions. What the hell? 10 millions are a ton of people playing, right?
And I think the lowest point ever in World of Warcraft is still higher than 60% of our games.
At least 60% of these games in this list. So definitely.
So I think World of Warcraft is one of the best games in the world.
And accessibility also very, very high. You can just log in and play your character, I think.
Yeah.
You can play any character you want.
Yeah. And you can decide how you want to play.
Yeah. You can do whatever you want.
You can speed level. You can
chill
go as
level.
fast as you want.
You can do professions. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's a really cool game. But as said, we're both biased, so don't be too unhappy with what's coming next, because I can think about. I have a strange feeling I know where this game is going.
I mean, I said at the beginning, I think, I just now, Valorant is one of the best games in S tier.
Yeah.
For me personally, World of Warcraft has to be next to Valorant.
Yeah, for me too.
But I would, so if I try to be as objective as I can be, I think at least A tier is fair.
Yeah.
And I think a low S tier is fair as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, so if I have my or if I put my World of Warcraft glasses down, then I have to say it's A plus. I think.
Yeah, I think it's
A
in
plus.
front of
Yeah.
in front of Apex,
Yeah.
or maybe behind Apex.
Yeah, somewhere around that, right?
Yeah.
But
let's put it just as first in A tier. I like it.
Yeah, right.
It's like a mix of our bias and our objective opinion.
Yeah. If I would leave my glasses on, it would be right next to Valorant. But whatever. We are not that biased. Next up, I had it on my wish list. It's Age of Empires, because it's an all-time classic. Well, it's Age of Empires 4, but funny enough, the Age of Empires 2 community, esports community, is growing. Not the 4, the new game, which was just released. No, it's actually Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, the remaster, which is growing and growing and growing. And I love to see it, because I love this game to death, and I like to play it till this day. And it's so awesome that it gets still the recognition, and it's very cool to see such an old game coming back from the dead and rising so heavily up in fan favors and esports scenes. And I don't know if you watched it. It's the the energy drink with a animal on it.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? It has horns. An energy drink.
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
And they made a tournament, I think it was last year, in Germany, in a real castle.
Okay, really?
Really, you have to see the production. It was so insane. The casters were all dressed up in Landsknecht uniforms and stuff like that. And they were
like
all
traditional.
They were actually also dressed as characters in the game, or stuff like that, and like kings and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was so amazing to watch, and also the scenery and stuff, and what is going on with this game is so amazing to see. And I'm so glad that it finally gets this recognition. And if you never played Age of Empires, A, do it now, and B, play Age of Empires 2 and not 4.
Okay.
It's amazing.
That's a good tip. I never played it really. I mean, I must have played it like 15 years ago.
It was the banger on every LAN party I was.
Yeah, and I'm typically not the type of guy for the slow RTS. I mean, I like StarCraft. I think StarCraft is just overdoing it a bit.
Yeah.
But for me personally, Age of Empires is too slow.
Yep. I can see that, but it has still a very high skill ceiling.
Yeah.
And what's funny about it, and what's also cool to see, that there are really new players coming into the scene, right? There are like 3 or 4, like 16 to 19-year-olds, just recently, or not recently, the last 2 years, stepping into the scene. It's so amazing to see that there is still young people wanted to play this game. But also, of course, we have like the GOATs, like the Viper, everyone knows, and the best player of all time.
Okay.
Who won like almost every tournament you can imagine.
Yeah.
But it's very, very nice to see. And for me, it is an A tier. It's somewhere around here. It's better than, for me personally, of course, as well, but as it's so much growing right now, and it's a game that has so much relevance over the last
I think
few
relevance
years.
is a big point for this game.
So it makes it like A. It's like up to Super Smash, because it's also a very old game with a lot of players joining in esports, and you can play it. What I like about Age of Empires, because it's a little bit slower, you can follow it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah.
And you can also, if you watch it, it's very, very chill to see, but if you get more into the game, you see how skilled the players are, even though you have the feeling like you're chilling
Yeah.
and watching players click and here and there. But
Yeah.
if you get the hang of the game, you know, wow, this was crazy what he just did.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I
these
can see
moments
that, yeah.
are insanely cool.
Yeah.
And for our last game, our Tom said, "Hey guys, you just forgot about one of the biggest games ever," and we of course put it in there
That's true.
last second.
Yeah.
It's all-time favorite FIFA. Before you start, I despise this game. I hate this game. I hate it.
I think so. I was a FIFA guy for years. FIFA was my main game. Like, I remember the first FIFA I played was like FIFA 2001,
Yeah.
and I stopped playing around 17 maybe.
Okay.
So a good 15 years I played this game regularly. I played every version.
Crazy.
And it was my main game for years. I played on the PlayStation before I had a computer. And in the last years, especially starting to study esports, I developed a hate for this game.
Yeah.
I think
I
there's
cannot play it.
a lot wrong with FIFA.
Yeah.
There's a lot wrong with EA.
Yeah.
I think there's no doubt about it that there's a lot
Yeah.
wrong with EA. I would compare it especially to Clash Royale.
Yeah.
So Ultimate Team is the biggest mode where you collect cards and build your team with the cards, and then you play with the players on the cards.
Exactly.
Same thing. You have to put money in
Yes.
to be competitive. At the top level, everyone has the same team. I think there are like a few changes, like 1 or 2 players in every team. Maybe the positioning of the players is different, but all in all, it's always the same. You have to get the best players. There are constantly released new versions of every player. You can play with the best card in the game, and then the same card like 2 points worse, and then 3 points worse, and 1 point worse. There's so many versions of every card. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The pull rate of cards is ridiculous. You always see streamers at every new FIFA release putting like $2,000 into the game just to open some packs.
It's insane.
It's
that
crazy.
has nothing to do with esports for me, right? Sorry.
And I think a game where you have to spend money to compete in esports, that's just wrong.
It's trash. It's so garbage, but the game itself is so garbage. Oh, I could read for days. It's
but
always
at the same time, I think
it's
the best sports simulation out there.
Simulation. I don't know.
I mean, like a game where you're playing the sport.
Yeah, I know what you
mean.
Like
NBA 2K, like Madden NFL, I think.
But I think that's because the other games are bad designed. Yeah. I don't think that FIFA is outstandingly better. I mean, they do like the same thing over and over, and every year again you have to spend thousands of money and every year for the exact same thing.
Game. Yeah.
And it's freaking me out that it works every single time.
It's like every time they release a new game, they're like, "Oh no, we add this new feature where you have to press R1 while passing."
Yeah.
Like,
oh my god.
I'm just passing. It's not a new feature.
Yeah, it's insane. I cannot, and personally, I still cannot play it to this day because controllers are getting crushed on a daily basis. Because of bugs and stuff like that.
To top it all off, it costs 60 euros every time. It's the same game. You have to pay 60 euros for every game.
Yeah,
crazy.
At least that was the last FIFA, right? So no new FIFAs coming this our way.
Yeah.
How's the new game called? I don't.
eFootball.
eFootball.
Just eFootball.
All right. So let's see how eFootball 24 works out.
Yeah.
If it's crazy, if it has crazy new features that, like passing, or crazy new features like buy our players cards that have like 1 or 2 higher points and speed than last year. It's so it's so garbage, this game.
Yeah.
Sorry, but without my glasses on, where you wanna put it?
I think it's definitely C.
It's definitely C, right?
And I think it competes with Clash Royale for the worst esports game.
Yes, it does.
So
it really
with my
does.
bias, I would put it I would create a new tier for it.
We can. We really could. I hate this game so much, and it's such a bad esports title. It's so dumb, to thousands of dollars into the game to just compete with it, and then you have to do this and that, and it's, I don't know, it's.
But I mean, looking at our categories, I think we have to put it above.
Yeah,
Clash Royale.
I think it's here, right? Yeah.
I think the player base is pretty big.
It's super big.
I think it's relevant. There's an esports scene controlled by I don't know if it's like by the ESBD, so the European no, not the ESBD, the German Olympic Committee.
Mm-hmm.
So every professional football team has to get into FIFA esports.
Yeah.
So
I saw
first,
that. Yeah.
second, and third league, every team has a team.
Yeah.
An esports
I know that.
team.
Yeah,
They're playing FIFA in their own league.
Yeah.
So some teams are excelling that, are growing their esports side of the company, but some are just we contract one player, we don't really care.
Exactly.
We just play every week, who cares?
Exactly.
No one really cares about the
no
league.
one. It's like you could, I don't know, you could send a 5-year-old there and they would pay him like tons of money.
That would actually be publicity, I think. So.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, long story short, this game sucks for esports, in our opinion, in our humble and honest opinion. But yeah,
right.
that was it. Thank you, Jonas. That was really, really fun.
Yeah,
really,
that was
really
really
cool.
fun. I loved it,
yeah.
actually. I mean, we took a little bit longer than expected.
But I think we're doing it like 2 parts and then it's okay. We did it our first time. First time we did like a duo stream and like did like a tier list. So we're setting
looking
things
at our
up.
list, I think there are some surprises for some.
Actually,
there big games like Overwatch, pretty low.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm very, very happy with our list.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
We did good. We can pat ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was it from our side. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. Other than that, if you have like other opinions maybe, or you want to see another tier list coming your way from Jonas and I, then just chat with us. Go on Discord or comment on under the YouTube video, because we will upload this bad boy we just created on the YouTube, on our YouTube, right? So that was
you
it.
You can follow us on every social. It's LAYZR GG everywhere.
Us. And yeah, thanks for having us. Thanks for all the kind words. Thank you for the love in the chat. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Epic Gamer Kitolo. Like our boss, her Bob. Thank you. And yeah, let's see where our ride continues with what tier list or what we are doing or coming up next. So
I would really like to do this again, actually.
Yeah, same. Yeah. We will definitely do it again. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Jonas, and see you next time. Have a good
nice day.
Bye.
Bye.